There goes our first Patriots torture watch of the season. This is the Locked On Patriots POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Patriots POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Patriots POSTCAST, brought to you by PrizePicks and part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your host, Cam Stewart, and that was not fun at all. The Patriots get just throttled by the Jets. 24-3 is a flattering score for the Patriots to go home with, because it should have been much worse. And I'm almost glad they didn't go in to try and score a touchdown at the end, because they did not deserve a touchdown tonight. That was pitiful, an absolutely pitiful performance. We're going to talk about just how bad this offense is. Maybe we were wrong a little bit about the defense as well. And we're right back to August with the offensive line. That's all coming up on this Locked On Patriots POSTCAST. Okay, so the elephant in the room is the thumbnail that says the worst offense in the NFL. I get it. The Panthers are there. The Panthers really suck. The Panthers shouldn't even be considered an NFL team. But nipping at those heels are the New England Patriots. Undoubtedly the worst offense in the AFC. And because I don't even consider the Panthers a franchise, I would say the worst offense in the National Football League. Just atrocious. Just god-awful. Had nothing going for it tonight. It never felt more like 2023 than it did tonight. This is the first day in the whole year of 2024 that I said, my God, this feels a lot like 2023. The Patriots are going for this thing. They're trying to, set NFL records or something. They're thinking, how many times can we pass for under 150 yards? They have not passed for 150 yards in a game once this season. Through almost 13 quarters of football, they haven't found one game where they could throw for 150. That's pedestrian. That's worse than pedestrian. And they can't even hit that. They're trying to see if they can win an NFL game for passing under 100 yards. Jacoby Brissett, 12 of 18 for 98. They had 120 yards through the air tonight. How are you supposed to beat anybody doing that? How are you supposed to beat Foxborough freaking High School doing that? 120 yards through the air. I'm telling you, I'm broadcasting a high school football game tomorrow night. I guarantee you both teams will pass for more than 120 yards. The Patriots cannot do it. They cannot do it. It's abysmal. Less than 200 yards of total offense. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How can you be that bad? How? And call yourself an NFL team? Good Lord, what a joke. What an absolute joke. Of course they don't have a team out there for Drake Maye. And it was bound to come, because nobody was blitzing on him. And finally a team says, wow, this might be the worst offensive line in the whole freaking league. How about we throw some pressure at him and see what happens? That's what happens. Less than 200 total yards. It's a joke. It's a joke of a team. And then I get to hear during the broadcast, if they took a break, they took Aaron Rodgers' shafts out of their mouth for just a second to talk about how apparently Robert Kraft picked Gerard Mayo to be the head coach 9 years ago on a trip to Israel because of how he interacted with older people. That's what this franchise is now, let alone this one team. But now the franchise is picking a coach 10 years in advance to replace the best coach ever because he talks nice with old people? What is this franchise? I felt as good as I can about this team coming into this game. And by that, I mean, I thought they would not be a 2-win team, but rather like a 5 or 6-win team. Because I thought they were doing everything right, except for passing the football to wide receivers. And tonight showed that there is much more to that they were doing wrong. Penalties, mistakes, can't throw the ball, don't even try to establish the run. They fall down 7-0, and they're playing one of the worst rush defenses in the league right now. And they say, you know what? We're a passing team. Let's just let Jacoby cook. First drive, they abandoned it. They didn't even start it to even abandon it. Ramondre Stevenson, who's well over 200 yards in his first 2 games. You're facing the 24th best rush defense in the league. You give him the rock 6 times for the guy you're paying $9 million a year. 6 times for 23 yards. What even is this? Oh, but thankfully Gerard Maye was pretty cool in Israel a decade ago. When I was in high school, he was pretty good at talking to people. And now he's the head coach of this team. And I didn't even want this to be a Mayo thing because I thought he coached well in the first 2 games. He didn't handle the clock well against Seattle, but that's what comes when it's your second game. But then this stuff that we hear about him being picked 9 years ago on a trip to Israel, how does that not piss you off, man? To couple with this performance. And my God, I Thursday Night Football has never been a great broadcast. Okay, and Al Michaels was and probably is the best ever. He has lost his fastball big time, and he doesn't like working with Kirk Herbstreit. But my God, we get it. Aaron Rodgers had a nice game, but they just couldn't stop. It was a 3-hour stroke fest. 8 yards a completion, and they're falling all over themselves talking about how great he is. He had a good game. 280 yards, a couple touchdowns. But, can we just pump the brakes a little bit? God, they were acting like it was the greatest comeback story of all time. Played one of the worst teams in the league, and they won handily. Congrats. It was a good game. It was a good game. God, I sound bitter. This team looked competent the first 2 weeks, as competent as they can be with this talent pool. And I do need to preface it by saying that, because by no means do I look down this roster and say, yeah, this is a good team. This is competent. But they weren't making mistakes. Tonight they made mistakes. And I'm so glad they actually got the ball to Pop a few times. Pop Douglas. They actually targeted him this week. Liked that. They targeted him 9 times. And look what happened. 7 catches for 69 yards. He's 10 yards a catch. That's what happens. But then you look down the list. Kayshon Boutte got 1 catch. Jalen Polk, 1 catch. So outside of Demario Douglas, you're right back to where you were last week. 3 catches by wide receivers. And Tyquan Thornton. I think Tyquan Thornton is a theory at this point. I don't know if he exists. I don't know if he is a wide receiver in the National Football League. And that sucks. I'm a Baylor alum. My other show is Locked on Baylor. I wish I could sit here and say how great a pick Tyquan Thornton is. You're in year 3 of this, and you're on the field this time. On the field in name only. A complete placebo out there. Nothing. Again, 2 catches on the year. Could have had George Pickens. Could have had an offensive lineman. Pro Bowl offensive linemen were picked behind him. Instead, we just have a decoy, a traffic cone wearing number 11. That's what we've got. And I'm wondering what we've got on defense. I'm wondering if it is the same one that I was so high on last week and the week before. Let's talk about that next on the postcast. But this postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. You guys have heard us talk about it. All right, it's America's #1 sportsbook. got something a little different for you this week, because now through the end of this weekend, September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5, get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you're going to be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. It's how I keep up typically with the Patriots, because there's a lot of those, okay, 1 o'clock out-of-market games. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. Well, I thought this was going to be a top 5 Patriots defense. I did. And after tonight and that performance, I think they're a top 10 defense. But it did not look good in the first half. 240 yards of total offense given up to the Jets in the first half. Which, by the way, again, 42 more yards than your offense got the whole game. How pathetic is that? How pathetic is that to say out loud, talking about an NFL game? Golly. I watched this team win Super Bowls, and now they can't muster up 200 yards against the Jets. Oof. Oof, that's brutal. The Titans almost beat this team. The Titans scored 17 against them. The Titans gave up less points, actually. It did not look good in the first half, and I understand you're going up against a Hall of Fame quarterback who, if you listen to the broadcast, would think was the greatest quarterback ever to be pooped out into earth. But it just, I didn't think it was a great game from Christian Gonzalez. I thought Wilson beat him a couple times and obviously had that touchdown on him that was just as likely to be a touchdown as it was a pick six. And if it was any Patriot quarterback throwing it, Gonzalez would have walked into the end zone from 99 yards out. But this was the first time this year we've seen Gonzalez just be okay. He had some good coverage out there at times. And I want to say only 2 of those catches from Garrett Wilson were on Gonzalez man-to-man, but that was just on my naked eye count, including that one that was a touchdown. So first touchdown he's given up this year. 5 catches on 9 targets. So they spread the ball around. They spread the ball around, man. Patriots, again, had 3 receivers with catches. And the Jets had Conklin for 5 catches, Wilson for 5 catches, Williams for 3, Lazard for 3. And then tight ends and running backs too. It was worrisome in that first half, I thought. And I mean, the rest of the game stats don't seem great. You gave up 27 first downs. You let them go 10 of 15 on third down. I think that is the damning point here, is that it was 10 of 15 on third down. Like, how do you let a team go 67% on third down? That's not a good defensive performance. And the Jets didn't really make them pay, because it should have been worse. They should have put up 2 more touchdowns tonight and really, really embarrass the Patriots here. But 10 of 15 on third down, that'll embarrass you. 400 total yards of offense compared to your team's 139. 139. I can't get away from this number. It's so bad. It's so bad. And thankfully, things tailed off at the end so that the Jets would go down to just 6 yards a play, as they were up over 8 at one point in the first half. 6 yards a play. I'm surprised they even got to 15 third downs on that. They ran 22 more plays than the Patriots. I mean, look at that. They just stay on the field. Patriots couldn't get after the quarterback on what's now looks like a good offensive line. Didn't the first 2 weeks. Now looks like a good offensive line for the Jets. Just 2 sacks. Held them to 130 rushing yards, but who cares when you gave up 267 in the air and 400 total and 24 points. The Jets actually have more penalties than the Patriots, which it did not feel that way. It looked like felt like the Patriots shot themselves in the foot with that, but the Jets at one point did have a 3rd and 33. So I guess that makes sense. 3 of 4 in the red zone, 1 turnover on the game, and it's Ramondre Stevenson. The Jets had the ball for 40 minutes. For 2/3 of the game, they had the ball. How are you supposed to do anything against that? That's on the defense. That's on a defense not getting off the field. It sure as heck doesn't help that your offense is so bad that you don't even hold it for 20 minutes. I get that. But it's not like the offense was really any better the last 2 weeks. They had one drive last week, one sustained drive, and maybe 2 against Cincinnati. Like, it's not like they were lighting the world on fire offensively, but you forced turnovers the other weeks, especially week 1. This wasn't really close to forcing a turnover. Just that one play, Gonzalez on the goal line. So your one play that was almost a turnover was just a touchdown for the other team. It was not a great performance. Not a great performance from this Patriots defense. I don't know. It didn't feel terrible in the second half, but I'm trying to think, well, they did this. I can't think of anything. Didn't force a turnover and allowed them to go 10 of 15 on third down. I don't need to go any more than that. 10 of 15 on third down. We're done. That's a terrible performance. And it just goes to show that, especially in a short week, your defense cannot win you every game. It can't. In fact, it rarely happens in the NFL these days. Even in this year, when the offense is going down, field goals are up, touchdowns are down, and you still can't win a game when you're not passing for 120 yards. You can't do it. And with this offensive line, I don't know that they're going to have a game where they throw for 200 yards. In 17 this year, I don't know that they will, because of this putrid offensive line, this complete lack of weapons, and a questionable attack tonight. I had relented. I liked Alex Van Pelt the first 2 games. I liked his play calling. They could have managed the clock better, but I liked his play calling. I thought he was making the most of what he had, which is not wide receiver, obviously. But again, I after that first Jets touchdown drive, I had the pit in my stomach, because then they go pass on the first play, and the first 2 drives they're trying to pass out of it. And I'm like, that's not this offense. You see the Jets' deficiency on defense, and you say, don't worry, guys, I'm not going to go after that. That would be classless. You guys suck against the run, but 7-0, 7 minutes into the game. I really got to catch up now. I got to pass. I just thought that was brain dead. I thought that was completely brain dead, and the Patriots deserved to lose as bad as they did when it came out to that attack. I usually go the next segment with the turntables and where this game turned, but I'm just gonna sneak preview it for you. I think it was done right then. I think it showed a team that said, we're abandoning the game plan after one sign of adversity, and that is being down 7-0, and just completely let this Jets rush defense off the hook by not handing the ball off. I thought it was all pitiful. Drake Maye made his NFL debut. Why don't we go over that next? But first, I got to tell you about PrizePicks. They're sponsoring this postcast as well, okay? It is the #1 daily fantasy sports game in America, okay? And it's the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so that your lineup stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. So if your player leaves in the first half, doesn't return, PrizePicks, your picks are still live, okay? And they put their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, like they did on Sunday, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. None of mine hit tonight. I had a Ramondre Stevenson touchdown. That didn't work. I had Ramondre Stevenson 100 yards. Didn't work. And I had Aaron Rodgers 300 yards. Didn't work. I just did that just in case. And I said, just in case it gets bad, maybe I'll hit on this Aaron Rodgers pick, and I didn't even get that. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL. Get $50 instantly when you pay $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. Speaking of run, Patriots quarterbacks were running for their lives tonight. That included Jacoby Brissett and Drake Maye, who made his NFL debut. But both of them kind of the same thing because the Jets, 7 sacks for 59 yards lost on the day. And I forgot to mention with the Patriots defense, this was the thing that I kind of noticed early on was I was like, the thing that's really bugging me here is they're missing tackles. They hadn't missed tackles the first 2 games. They didn't even do it a lot last year. And I was like, that's a missed mark here because this is a physical defense that I thought through the first 2 weeks were excellent tackling. Instead, tonight, and this stat came up late in the game, they had 13 missed tackles, losing 100 yards. 100 yards and a 15% missed tackle rate. That's bum stuff, man. That's bum. That's not good defense. And it was not a good offensive line performance either. Like I just said, 7 sacks. And you're watching it in the first half. Jacoby Brissett, I mean, he's getting hit on almost every play. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, this could be a good time at the end of a game to bring in Drake Maye. But I know football is a contact sport. He's going to get hit at some point. But Brissett's getting hit every time. Maybe this isn't the game to bring him in. Nope. The team that is scared to play him because that offensive line is so bad on a night where they're just getting beat up said, yeah, this is the time. This is the time. And look, the kid was in there for one drive. Did he look impressive? Not really, but he was in there for one drive. Hurried everything because he was hurried. 4 of 8 for 22 yards, almost 3 yards of completion. And even in his one drive, he was sacked twice. And this was not, get rid of the ball, kid. Why are you taking a sack? This was, oh my God, try to get anything to get out of the way. He got sacked twice and probably got hit 5 times in one drive. My God, I hope they have good insurance because this is like hurting me to watch. Their quarterback gets hit every play. Every play, he's on his ass. How can you put the kid out there for a whole game? That's what I'm wondering. Oh. So I wasn't happy necessarily to see him in there. And I did find it interesting that they didn't try for a touchdown. They stalled out the game after a sack inside the Jets' 10-yard line. By the way, fitting way to end it on a sack. But Drake Maye, his time will come. His time will come. But as scared as I am about him playing behind this offensive line, I might be more scared with this receiver unit that's out there. Because Jacoby Brissett, he can buy some time and has this year. Still no one's getting open. Apparently, Jalen Polk was like the most open receiver in the league in week 1. I didn't watch the All-22. I didn't see it, but he's had like 3 catches since then. How open can he be? Truly, how open can he be? And, Drake almost intercepted on his first pass. That would have been something. And I had this thought during the game, which I know is going to sound stupid and not exactly apples to apples, but I just think it's funny that they're not ready to send Drake Maye out there because this offensive line, it's patchwork. It's no good. It's probably the worst in the league. And yet they have another rookie who's on the offensive line that they are more than happy to put out there at a position he's never played. He played his whole college career at right tackle. They put Caden Wallace at left tackle. He's holding. He's lining up wrong. He's holding when they're still giving up a sack. Like, this is the Eagles joint practice all over again. Hit on every drop back and committing penalties to impede a pass rusher who still gets the sack. Just pitiful. Just a pitiful performance all the way around tonight. I can't find one good thing you can draw from this performance. Not one. Like, okay, you might have baited the Jets into some penalties. Who cares? You lost by 21 points. And then Drake Maye is out there. They're down by 21 on what is the final drive of the game. It's 3rd and 13, and they're throwing behind the sticks. Like, just take a shot. Take a shot. You lost the game. Just go for it. What are you doing? And they go for it on 4th down anyway. It's like, why are you throwing behind the sticks on 3rd and 13? Who does that help? It's totally inconsequential to the game, but I'm like, why is that the mindset? Why are you going to put this kid out here and not see what he has? That to me was just dumb. He's getting hit anyway. You cannot protect him anyway. You know that when you're putting him out there. Have him stand in the pocket and try to get something downfield in an NFL game. Why are you going conservative there? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And too many teams do that. But I don't know. It was like you wanted to put him out there just to check off that he's appeared in an NFL game and not actually, give him some plays to run. Take some shots. I mean, they did one thing in the first half. They took one deep shot, and it was just to get a pass interference penalty. They got it. It was barely a pass interference, if it was. It was like feet tangling up. It probably shouldn't have even been a penalty. And I remember teams did that against the Patriots for years, and Brady never did it. They never called one of those to, like, simply run a 4 verts or 2 verts just to try and get a flag. And that was their offensive philosophy in the first half. So I don't know whether to hate it or love it because, look, you're not completing – that was to Tyquan Thornton. You're not completing a pass to Tyquan Thornton in the NFL. You're not doing it. Not in an NFL regular season game. I don't think it's allowed. But instead, they go conservative with Drake Maye out there. Like, what is the point of getting conservative? Conservative is to, like, keep his jersey dry. Keep it clean. But you're not doing that anyway. So just, I don't know, take a shot. I wanted to take a shot watching this game. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. I thought it was I'm not going to swear again today. It was very poor. It was a very poor performance. And I imagine that even with the extra days off, they are going to get curb stomped by the San Francisco 49ers on the road. But then you've got Miami at home. I believe it's at home with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. That was the game I thought was the earliest you could see Drake Maye. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell to get notified every time we are on here on the POSTCAST, which is right after every Patriots game. So a little 10-day break, siesta, collect our thoughts, and then come back. Mike Debate will have the full wrap-up tomorrow. He'll have more level-headed. He'll probably swear less than me, and he will have some more reason. It's not going to be as emotional, and Debate does a great job breaking that down. And my favorites are on Mondays, now in this case a Friday, to get that breakdown from the game before. We appreciate you making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen today and every day. We will see you after San Francisco next Sunday night on the Locked On Patriots Postcast.